I have started building a portfolio, and I know that sounds boring, but I'm doing it in HTML5 canvas. Gonna make a little, I don't want to say engine, but it's basically a small engine. Small! I want to make something cool for my portfolio, because I figure I'm a programmer. I should probably make something that shows what I can do. We added a scaling canvas, benefit being, if I make it really small, say portrait, it'll just keep showing as much of the world as it can, which means it should scale on phone. Should. I'll let you know if it breaks. Animations! See that little dot happening? That is just, whoop, this. Let's do a lesson in scoping down. I added gravity and a collider, but the difference is there's not really a proper box collider. For this layout, I technically only need to check if you're going up and down. There are no side-on collisions. So we only check if you're hitting the very top of the collider. This bit here, the very tippy top of the collider. It's a bit floaty, but that's why the next task is whoop, make jumping feel good. But for now, I can go basic platforming. Done. Behold, the beginning of a button. Now, you might have noticed that our layout document has a lot of text. The problem is, we can't display that in Engine because this has got to run on everything from mobiles up to PCs, which is going to make text really hard to read. Solution: we inject HTML on top of this canvas that we're running. Boop, there we go. Hello world, and you can tell it's HTML because I'm able to highlight it, and on top of that, it regenerates it whenever you rescale the world, so it'll just stay in size. I have a halo, look at how holy I am. These buttons will swap between two separate content frames. I've been optimizing the engine a bit. It'll only clear where those dynamic objects are, and that has led to this problem. Oh dear. I mean, in my defense, it's working amazingly well. Now I know the clear and obvious question, how does the player get to this portfolio? How else? But by train. Aha! Camera. It'll smoothly transition to the new section. Elevators happening. Because I want to do an about, but I know no one likes to stick around and read those things, so I made one that just happens and animates through, and once it's done, you're done. And finally, this one's a bit subtle. I have not been touching the keyboard for the last 5 minutes of the video or so. See, it's all by itself. I have built a rudimentary pathing AI, which the little player character will follow if I'm manually scrolling. So the character will try its best to stay on the center of the screen. See? So we're officially at the point where I need to consider the art and actually make some assets. And I've tried a bunch of things. I've tried the color palette from Super Mario. That's just a bit brighter, not what we're looking for. We tried something a bit grayer, and no. I went back to Cat Game, the original style I had for that, and played with the color palette of that, which is nice and stands out, but it's a bit dull and gray. And I think I'm settling on either this or this. Neither are that great. So I gave up on that about halfway through and started redesigning it. I have a lot of trouble with colors. I'm not colorblind, but I am not professionally trained artist. I'm not a graphic designer by any stretch in a professional capacity. This is very amateur. So I have a little tool to help me make sure it reads well. I added this saturation test layer, which is just, I can have a nice black and white view, and if it's super clear here, if I can read what's happening in this view, I can definitely read what's happening in color view. That's the idea. I'm okay with this. We're gonna put it in and see how it goes. Oh, what? Now why does my little guy start down there instead of up on the scroll sign? So the reason that our character starts down here instead of up here, as they're supposed to, is because the game starts running physics and logic before all the graphical assets have loaded in. The floors don't load in time for the physics to start working, so our little guy, he just falls until the floors do load in, which means I've had runs of this where I've literally lost this kid to the bottom of the site. I've added an extra mode in, because we found out that Canvas is not graphic accelerated on mobile, which means this whole site runs like garbage on mobile. But I've come up with a fix. We built a mobile light mode. To replace the player, I've got this little elevator which will have an animated player in it. That's just run through HTML, not like HTML elements, not on the canvas. Otherwise, it's exactly the same site. Sans animations, I suppose. The avatar has animations now. You see they're bobbing their little head and body, and they got a little run cycle, which is nice and squishy and bouncy. You can climb down ladders, and also, if you look very closely, you'll see there's a drop shadow, which, you know, stays on the ground and always beneath the player. Side note, actually, this character is totally based on the cat from the cat game I was making a while ago. Actually, specifically this cat, because it's the cat that has the nicest color scheme, I think. His name is Blues. This is a very special video. I've just finished, you know, doing some tests for my second draft on the graphics. The background should update now. Hey, see, we've got a little sky gradient going on. There's bolts everywhere. There's a bit more detail in the background. And done. Choo-choo. I added bits of branding and a couple of technical fixes here and there, including light mode, which refreshes the page and runs it in mobile mode in case your computer isn't very good. I don't really know how to end the video, I guess. Go on the site, see for yourself. There's your ending. Bye-bye.